Okay.
They're terrible.
It's alright. Well, look. Do you know why I say? Do you know?
Ungrateful. For me, the word is ungrateful. My own places, and I'm sorry, but I was harassed. I was followed. I was, sexually harassed. Followed. Horrible.
Okay.
That's what one thing that
Caroline.
pisses me off. If someone my age, of Algerian descent, born and raised in France, was starting to tell me, I would like, how dare you? You were born with literally a silver spoon in your mouth. You were born in one of the best places ever.
Okay.
You had the same opportunity I had. Small, I thought the Quran was very big.
You know, you're traveling.
Yes.
You're visiting here.
No, I live here.
You live here.
But I travel a lot.
That's why you said that, because when people come here traveling, they always complain about the size. They say we want something small because we're traveling.
Small.
Yeah.
Small
It should be okay. Try to see if you can see or
I
not.
expected like a big. Like
No, it's not the Bible. It's not the Bible.
I know the Bible from my grandma.
It's not the Bible. So are you religious?
French version of the Quran?
Yes, it is a
Oh, real?
translation of the Quran. Yes, French translation of the
Is
Quran.
the translation really accurate?
There's few books as well I'm giving you with the Quran, not just
because
few
I've
books.
heard
Yeah.
that the problem people have with the Quran is that people say it was not translated properly. So some things you read, people are shocked, but it's because Arabic has nothing to do with European languages, and so some people read it and they're shocked. But it's because I think it's because of problems of translations.
Well,
No?
yeah, few things to say. First is that we have the original language, which is the Arabic original language, and I speak the original language, for example, right? Many people speak the original language. So we can always tell if there is a mistake in a translation, right? While, for example, if you compare that with other scriptures, they don't have an original. Therefore, they cannot compare mistakes with different translations, right? But that's the first thing. The second thing is when you say people are reading things which they're shocked, right?
Yeah.
That could be from two things. First is that they're reading a translation done by someone who's not a Muslim. The translation done by non-Muslims who mistranslate the Quran purposefully so they can push people away from Islam, right? That's one example. And another example is, I would say that a lot of people are liberalized. I would say France is very liberalized, right?
Yeah.
So they might be shocked from something that is traditional that is in our book.
Yeah.
But that could be true. So just because someone...
I'm getting a free Quran. Oh, nice. Oh, look, they have it in all languages. I want to get it.
So
Thank you so much.
missed the Barbie shop.
Sorry, I really needed to go to the toilet.
We all went to the toilet and still have Barbie shops.
Okay, that's too bad.
So no problem. So it all depends on what you mean. Do you have an example in your mind of what you're saying is a very shocking thing?
Yes, because in France there's always debate about Islam and how problematic it is in society, and especially the place of women and homosexuality and things like that.
Okay.
And people say, look, they say this, but then I'm like, how can you translate from Arabic to French? It's a big stretch.
Okay,
you know?
okay. But do you have an example about women, for example? Because you mentioned women. Do you have an example?
Yeah, like they should be like lapidated if they cheat, whereas the man is allowed to have like as many wives as he can.
They have to be what? I didn't get what you're saying.
Yeah.
They have to what?
I don't know the name. Sorry.
Because you said it in French. I didn't get it.
No, lapidation is not a word in English. It's like stone, like you can stone.
They should be stoned to death.
Yeah, stone women to death.
No, that's
they are unfaithful.
No. Okay, there are capital
But
punishment.
men are allowed to have like 10, as many women as they
That's
want.
not true. That's not
And
true.
you're like, that doesn't sound right.
Okay.
And I always told myself, this sounds really weird. Maybe there was a mistranslation, you know?
Okay, of course that's not true. So we say that there are capital punishments in Islam, by the way, right? But those capital punishments are applied equally to both genders. It's not just because you're a man or you're a woman, right? If you commit a crime, equally you're punished or rewarded in Islam, right? The Quran is very clear on that, right? So if you do...
Yeah, I'm just
Shall we meet you at the pub?
where are you going?
We're going to go back to where we saw you.
Okay, I'll see you there.
So it all depends on what you do, right? If you do good, you're rewarded. If you do bad, you're punished, male or female. And Allah says that in the Quran, right? Man amila salihan, whoever does good, male or female,
Yeah.
and he's a believer, then we'll give them a good life. You're a male or a female, it does not matter,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So that's the first thing about this stunning to women in this
No,
life,
because
right?
the main problem, I think, in Western Europe with the Quran is that it's very misogynist. Like men are allowed to do whatever they want.
Okay, let me ask you this question.
And women are just like sub-citizens, like subhumans.
Subordinate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Submissive, right? All of these terms. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this question, right? Can you define what misogyny is?
It means where women are not allowed to do the same things as a man.
So you're saying inequality equals misogyny? Because misogyny has a specific definition in the language, right? Misogyny is the hatred and or contempt of women.
Yeah.
So if I hate women, then I'm a misogynistic individual, right? So to say that Islam is misogynistic, for example, quote unquote, then someone has to provide us with a scripture that explicitly states that Islam hates women, right? Or you should hate women, which does not exist, right?
That's hatred.
In fact, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him,
they're seen as second-class citizens.
I understand what you mean. Yeah. But in fact, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said that few things have been made beloved to me of this world, and he said one of them is women. That we love women, right? I have sisters, I have mothers.
I'm sure you do.
Yes, right. Yeah. So this idea of misogyny, we don't agree with. But we say explicitly that men and women are not equal. So that's the Islamic position. We say we're different.
I agree with that.
We're different, right?
We're not equal.
Yeah, we're different.
Our brains are different.
Yes, our physiology
is different.
Absolutely.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, so that's what Islam says, right? Yeah. Therefore, then wouldn't you agree with me then? If we are different, then the treatment should be different.
Yeah.
Right? Therefore, Islam would have certain obligations and commands for women, and will have different obligations and commands for men. For example, if Islam says that a man should grow his beard, it's not going to say a woman, you grow your beard, right? It does not make any sense, right? Because we are different. So that's an example. You get what I'm trying to say, right?
I wouldn't want to grow a beard.
Yes, okay. So certainly, also when it comes to marriage and all of these commands as well, there are different teachings, right? So we believe in gender roles. We believe in marriage, a man has a role and a woman has a role.
Gender roles as well.
Okay, excellent. Okay. Yeah, but liberalistic societies do not agree with gender roles, right?
Yeah.
They would say a man can be in a woman's role and a woman can be in a man's role.
Yeah.
We say no, a woman has a role and a man has a role. And we say because God created us in a way, we fit into a specific role. We don't fit into another role.
Yeah.
Our psychology is like this, right?
Yeah.
So in Islam, yes, the man would take the decisions in a marriage relationship between him and his wife. That does not mean that the wife now is lesser human being.
Okay.
Islam doesn't say that.
It's just attached to different tasks.
Absolutely. So,
doing different things.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean that it's less important.
Absolutely.
It's just different.
Yeah, in fact, some people can even argue that what women do is more important than what men do. Some people.
Kids is a pretty big deal.
So the next generation, taking care of the next generation of people, what the future will be is dependent on the mother that raises the children in the house, right? Obviously, the father's presence is very important, right?
Yes.
We're not making a comparison, but I'm saying some people can even make the argument, right? And that's why you will see when certain people, they try to destroy a community, a society, a civilization, they always target the women. They target the women, they target the education system, because this is the future of the civilization, right? But the point is, France right now, la liberté and all of that, right? Liberalism and all of that, right? Oh yeah, all of this stuff, yeah? Okay, so the question is this now, right? Why is liberalism true? Why should we agree with this idea? Or should anyone agree with this idea that you can do whatever you want as long as you don't harm anyone else? Because when you're reading the Quran, I want you to keep that in mind, right? What standard are you using to judge what the Quran says, whether it's right or wrong? What standard do you use?
That's the thing, I've not read it, that's why I want to top it, because all I know about it is what intellectuals are saying on TV. You know, like, and pseudo-intellectuals.
That's good. Yes, they are pseudo-intellectuals. Yes.
Oh, the Quran says that, and it's bad, and also they say that the problem with Islam in France is that even people who are very integrated, assimilated into society, if tomorrow there was a war and they had to pledge allegiance, they would pick Islam over their
France
citizenship. Exactly.
Okay. Yes.
And that's what a lot of people have a problem with. Like, if let's say tomorrow there was a massive jihad, like a worldwide jihad, the Muslim of France, they would turn away from France, their country, country, the love of their country, and they would turn to religion because religion in the end is the strongest bond.
Okay, let me ask you this, right?
Because you guys are born Muslims as well. It's
Okay.
different from like Catholicism. You get baptized. It's different.
Not really, because you can accept Islam as well through what we call shahada, just a testimony of faith that you
Yeah.
accept the teachings of Islam. Also, yeah, many people are born Muslim, but it will have to come a point in their life, especially if they're living in the West, that they will be challenged by people like you. They will be challenged by people who are not Muslim, right?
Yeah.
So when they are challenged, they will have to reflect on the teachings of their religion. So then they will have to accept it based on conviction and not accept it based on birth, right? So me personally, I studied my religion. That's why I believe it has nothing to do with my birth, right?
Yeah.
If I were to study and realize Islam was false, I would leave it tomorrow, right?
Would leave it.
Yeah, because I have to follow the truth.
Wouldn't you feel
But
like an obligation towards your parents, for example, or your family?
my parents would respect my decisions and human agency
Fair enough.
to follow what is true, right? And I would be telling my parents as well, if I care about them, that this is not true. You shouldn't be following that which is not true. But you mentioned the point about they will be have allegiance to Islam, right?
Exactly.
And I would completely agree with you. I would say we do have allegiance to Islam first, right?
Exactly.
There's no doubt about that. It doesn't matter. But this is the same with any country in the world. It doesn't matter where I was born. It has nothing to do with France, right? It has something to do with what is true and what is not true, and whether God exists or not. But the question is this, right? Why is nationalism a good thing? Why do I have to have an allegiance to a flag that was designed by Sykes-Picot and different
Because
when
you
they
think
when
it's
they
true.
when they
Because you think it's fair and just because you think
But I don't think that.
you think the country that you were born in or you were raised in has brought you so much. Like in France, for example, like France, you have free education. You literally like it's. I'm not gonna say it's perfect, but it's a pretty. There are worse places to be born than
Okay,
France.
let me tell you something.
It's pretty good.
In France, you've got Tunisians, Algerians, and Moroccans.
Yes, we do, but they do not identify as French people, unfortunately, even though they get nationality.
But I want to ask you a question. Why do you have these three types of people? Do you know why?
Because of colonialism.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we cannot escape the cause of the problem
Yeah.
of the French government, in which you are trying, they should be nationalistic and proud of, coming to their countries, destroying their countries, staying there for over 100 years, and then you say, come love our countries and have allegiance to us. How does that make any sense to you in your mind?
No, but we've lived.
Do you know how long they stayed in Algeria?
But when we've opened the border and they said, just come.
Let me ask you this.
Whatever
Do you know what the French did when they went to Algeria? Staying over 100 years. Do you know what they did? They prohibited people from teaching the Arabic language. It's not only that they took over the land when it comes to military power, they were trying to take the identity of the Arabs, not to speak Arabic and to speak French.
But then, do you think the way? Do you think revenge is? A way
No,
of justice?
I don't advocate
So,
for
like,
revenge.
You think like now the third, fourth generation of Algerian Tunisians, they should come to France and just set it on fire as a way of repayment or compensation?
I will answer that. It's a great question. No, it's a great question. It's a great question. I agree with you. We don't advocate for revenge. We're not saying revenge. But let me mention one thing. The recent riots that happened by France, French government, they reported the numbers of the people, and they were the under 10%, I believe, of them were immigrants.
Yeah.
Most of the people who caused the riots were French people. So, but in the media, it was blaming people who are coming from immigration, which is not fair, right? I agree. There is no such thing as revenge. But I'm saying you cannot ask those people where their ancestors were killed, who literally France has museums of skulls of Algerian people, and then you say to them, have allegiance to France. I think that's insane. If I came to your house and slaughtered all of your ancestors, and I've got a museum displaying your ancestors, and then say have allegiance to my country,
What about
that's insane.
What I'm talking about, like people who are my age, they were born in France, they grew up in France, they benefited from all the benefits in France, which they would have never benefited in the corrupt states of Tunisia or Morocco or Algeria.
I disagree.
If they were born
I
there,
disagree.
they would be in an absolute state of misery.
Have you been to Morocco?
Yeah, I have, and I'm sorry what I saw.
Which part?
I was in Marrakesh.
Okay, Marrakesh.
Yeah.
And it was bad. I've been to Morocco multiple times.
It was because you're a man. You're
Sorry?
a man. You're a man.
Oh no, you are talking about okay. What do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about?
Poverty. I've seen
There is poverty in France.
men who have some serious issues with like women and and education.
Can you be more explicit? What do you mean? Look.
Do I want to
You
be
are.
more explicit?
Look.
I mean, I've never.
Just a step by step. What's your name?
I've never been harassed.
What's your name?
Caroline.
Caroline. Look, Caroline, because we don't want to go everywhere, right?
Yeah.
First, you were talking about the economic advancements, right? When it comes to economy and economic advancements, Morocco is a very beautiful country. Has jobs, it has money, there is no issues, right? I've been there. I have family there. I have family there, so I know more
I've
about.
seen insane misery there.
Sorry?
Yeah, I have seen incredible misery there.
Look, the highest rates of depression are in the West today. The highest rates of depression, the highest rates of killing infants because of quote unquote having intercourse outside of marriage happens in the West. The highest. Do you know the biggest study?
I'm talking about.
But we're talking about misery, right?
About economic, like people can't send their kids to school. They are being like bribed. The teachers bribe them. Like the kids have to.
That exists. That exists, Caroline. That exists here and exists France. It exists all over the world, right? What you're trying to say is that exists in one country and it does not exist in another. That's not true, right? Corruption exists in every government.
There is a scale, and I'm sorry when you see people my age, like Moroccan, Algerian, second generation, because I am a second generation immigrant as well. My grandparents are Spanish and they fled the dictator, very, very tough dictator in Spain. And they had my mom and then me. And I'm sorry, school is free in France. You are treated.
I don't know why you keep saying school is free, right? Because it's like
the same way.
Yes, there are free school in many Muslim countries, by the way.
It's a starting point. But you can literally.
Do you know that school is free in many Muslim countries?
You have the same opportunities. That's what I mean in France.
No, look.
You have the same opportunity. You have massive social, like paychecks, like.
Okay.
Like here they call it, council or whatever.
And the benefits. You're talking about benefits.
A lot of benefits.
Yes.
Which you don't have here. So that's why.
What you also have.
Age, I like of Moroccan or Algerian, I send and say, yeah, France sucks, they suck, and I'm like, dude, you are so ungrateful.
But what you also have.
Shut up.
What you also.
No, really, that's so ungrateful.
Okay, that's fine. What you also have. I've never been to France. I don't want to go to France, so
I've lived there for 20 years.
Yeah, okay.
I think I know what I'm talking about.
No. I'm not saying you don't know.
And I've been to school with like people of Arabic.
Can I respond? Is it okay?
Yes.
It's all right. I understand you're passionate about it, but look.
Yes, I am.
Look, you keep talking about things like education and this and that. The same thing. You also have racism towards people who are not French. They're treated unequally. They're looked at as second-class citizen. What you're quoting is what happens in France on a daily basis from the French people of how they look at those Algerians and Moroccans, right? They don't allow them to practice the religion. Women are not allowed to wear the hijab in France.
You can.
Can I just?
No, I have to stop you because in France you are allowed to wear the scarf.
In school?
And the burqa.
In school?
Literally everywhere.
No. In school?
Yes.
Under 18?
Everywhere.
Under 18 in school?
Everywhere.
Can I show you the law which says under?
Literally everywhere.
No. Can I show you the law?
I'm sorry, I have seen more.
No. But I will show you the law.
With a veil in France that I have in Egypt, and I've been in.
No. We're talking.
There were more women.
We're talking about
in France, in Paris, than I've seen in Egypt.
We're talking about the government. Is there a law dictated by the government? I can show you videos of women not allowed, actually asked to remove the hijab before entering the university. I don't know what you're talking about, right? You're not allowed to pray in work. You'll be kicked out of your job if you pray in work. That's what the government says. You can say, I've seen people wearing the hijab. That does not mean that what I'm saying to you is true. So to say that those people should be happy because they have free education, that makes no sense. That's not what la liberté is. That's not freedom. Freedom is to be able to practice the religion that you believe in, teachings that you have for your children. Sorry?
Privately.
No, school is a public place. You should be able to wear what you wear in school. You choose what you wear. Do you agree that women should wear what they want?
Initially,
you don't agree.
I believe the law of 1905 said everyone is allowed to practice whatever religion in a private setting, in a private space.
Which?
It's the law of 1905, the separation of the state and the church.
Are you talking about secularism?
Yeah, secularism.
Yeah, okay. We don't agree with secularism.
Okay.
But we're saying school is a public property.
Yeah.
You cannot dictate to people what to wear in a public place.
Yeah.
It's either you're saying don't put your kids to school, or you're saying the kids can wear what they want in school, right? You cannot have your cake and eat it, right? Because you're just saying how important is the free education. Look. Do you see do you see the contradiction? But Caroline, do you see? Caroline, do you see the contradiction? You claim there's free education, and that free education that claim exists puts mandates on what you should wear when you're having that free education. How is that a good thing? Look, we're arguing too much about France, right? Look,
because it's my home country.
I understand. Point I'm making is this: we don't agree with liberalism. So I do not agree, for example, with a lot of things that maybe you've been taught when you were younger. Maybe you're getting from your community, from study, from the pseudo-intellectuals that you're talking about, right? I'm saying when you will be reading the Quran, what standard would you use to determine that is right or that is wrong? What would you use? You, Caroline, when you're reading the Quran right now, because you've not read it yet. No. But when you read it, how can you determine that this part is good and this part is bad?
Before that, he must ask the permission.
Yeah, I would just use my own judgments.
Or did you agree that it's subjective, taught by your parents, by liberalism?
Yeah.
Okay, but this is the problem. Then when you say some people reading things in the Quran and they're thinking, I don't agree with this part, X, Y, and Z, you're using a standard which is subjective to judge something which is supposed to be objective coming from the Creator, right? But look, as I said, I understand you're passionate about this topic, you're passionate about France. But I would say when you read in the Quran, try to maybe look at it from an objective perspective, not from what you've been taught maybe from your country or from your parents, etc.
That's from what I observed, because that's the problem. It's because it was so open and so overly open that people got in and then started saying, oh, like, I am Algerian, I'm not French, I'm Moroccan. Because France historically used to be a country of assimilation, whereas here it's a country of communitarism.
Okay.
And France was based on anyone can come in, you can come in, but you need to strip yourself off everything.
How is that freedom?
Before.
How is that freedom?
You know how is it freedom? Because it literally says
it's dictating to you what you should do.
You adopt and you take it, it's yours.
No, as long as you take our values, you're saying.
Tell someone, come to our country and make everything that's there yours. How is that really?
No, Caroline. What you're saying is
come in and make everything our culture yours.
Caroline. No, Caroline. What you're saying is come to our country, adopt our values, or you're not welcome here. That's not freedom.
It's not that you're not welcome, but you might
not freedom. No, but what if I'm coming with my culture?
I'm sorry, but if I was going to, as a Catholic, if I was going to, no, I isn't Catholic anyway.
You went to Morocco, you said. Did you wear the hijab?
I was going to
Did you wear the hijab?
To leave?
Did you wear the Moroccan dress?
No, but if
we didn't tell you to follow our culture when you came to our country.
If I went to Iran, I would have to.
No, don't. Iran. We don't consider Iran a Muslim country. Yeah?
Okay.
We don't consider Iran a Muslim country. So to try to come, Iran is a Shia state. Shiaism is under 10% of Muslims. Shia, yeah.
As opposed to Sunnis.
Yeah. So this under 10% of the Muslim population. They don't represent, right? But the point again, Morocco is a Muslim country. Clearly, you went to Morocco. No one forced you to adopt Moroccan values. They welcomed you. They welcomed you into the culture.
They didn't force me, but they clearly made me understand. They made it clear that I wasn't made welcome there.
I don't believe you. I'm sorry.
The way I dressed.
I'm sorry.
And I dressed very modestly.
Can I tell you something honestly?
Even in London, I dress modestly. Can I see how I dress?
Can I tell you something honestly, right?
Yeah.
You're the first person who claims that Morocco is not a good place after they travel there, which I would say is a very biased thing. I speak to people here on a daily basis. Hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of people walk by, right? People go to Morocco, they enjoy. It's fine, it's alright. You don't have to enjoy the experience,
why?
right?
Because I went alone. I didn't have a guide. I didn't have a group tour. Okay. I was not in a bubble of organized trip. I went on my own.
Maybe that's why then.
My own places. And I'm sorry, but I was harassed. I was followed. I was, sexually harassed. Followed. Horrible.
Okay, do you know the Telegram? Can I tell you why I'm smiling?
Because you don't know.
No, not because I don't know. I agree with what you're saying, and I believe that's a bad behavior that should be treated, should be dealt with. I completely agree with you. I'm not denying that. The reason I'm laughing is the following: is that you are saying that the West is better, but reality shows otherwise. The Telegraph, they have a study from the French government. They conducted a study with 600 women. The French government says harassment of French women on transportation is 100%.
Oh yeah,
100%. Every woman, literally every woman gets harassed, right? So I don't know what you talk about Morocco, but look, start with France, right? The UN, they published a study in the West talking about the West, right? The study is called, do you know what it's called? Women abuse every day, everywhere.
Yeah, of course.
This was the biggest study that was done.
Morocco, you don't have health, security, health. You don't have like the
We have health.
You don't have benefits.
But there is hospitals.
I'm sorry, I've seen people literally on the street with elephantism. It was the worst.
Look, there are. Look. I'm not denying poverty. I'm not denying poverty. I'm not denying sickness. But you have to also look at the history of how this took place. You cannot take all of what the West did, going into our countries, taking our goods, taking all our resources, and then building their own countries, and then complaining about why there's poverty in those countries.
I agree, but then you remove responsibility on the governments of your countries. Then that's taking away all responsibility.
We don't say that.
Out of the governments.
When did we say that?
And the governments of
They are responsible.
African countries, they're African people. They're not French people. They're not English people.
We're not doing what you're saying.
They need to take responsibility for the actual situation.
No, responsibility for what?
Colonialism, which happened like 400 years ago.
No, colonialism still happens today, every day. You had, when did the Americans leave Afghanistan? Just recently. Look. No. Colonialism happens every day. Whether it happens in the army or ideologically, it still happens, right?
Yeah.
What was his name? I think William Bloom. He said that America invaded 50 states after Second World War. We're not just talking about the past and Second World War, but this reality has been happening and is still happening today. Whether it happens ideologically or happens with an army, there is still invasions. The Russians are Syria. What happened in Syria? The Russians are Americans. This is happening today. We're not talking about the past, right? So we're all to blame because, for example, Pakistan, Imran Khan was bought, all of his party was bought by the Americans to remove him from leadership. Yeah. So to claim that, we blame the government. How can I blame the government when the other countries are invading and still colonizing ideologically and controlling what we should do and what we shouldn't do, right? The UN believes they have authority to enforce their morality over everyone else. Look,
I agree with you.
Things are much bigger than the way you're putting it.
Moves at its own pace. So maybe like Arabic countries or like Middle Eastern countries, they're in a phase that they're just in a different.
No, there's many good Middle Eastern countries. Look at the countries. Look at the countries that did not have colonization. Look at Emirates, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. They're very advanced when it comes. No, we're going to talk about Saudi if you want. But the point is, when you look at Qatar, when you look at Emirates, and when you look at Saudi Arabia, when it comes to the poverty, it's nowhere, and Bahrain and these countries, nowhere near the countries that you mentioned, which was colonized.
They're slaves. They're slave owners. They're enslaved people.
Where did you get this information from?
How did they build all the shit that they built in so little time and with so little money?
Do you know the clothing you're wearing is coming from? Do you know the clothing?
Migrants, Pakistan, Indian migrants, passport taken away. They're sleeping horrible.
Look, Caroline, this is not.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, but you're not being honest. I'll tell you why. Everything you're wearing today comes from children that are forced to manufacture and make things.
From Vietnam.
So either way, you cannot be complaining about one country using workers when your country and every country uses workers.
You didn't say that. You said they've not been colonized, and look at them, they're so advanced.
We're talking about the economics. No, you're not getting my point.
Why are they so advanced economically? Because they take massive advantage of cheap labor. Labor.
That's not true. Those people come to those countries for work.
Because they have no other option.
No.
And they live in the horrendous condition.
Caroline, why would
passport get stolen?
Caroline, why would they choose that country to move to? If it doesn't have a good economic wait. Can I just finish? Can I finish, please? Right?
You don't know when I do so.
No, but I allow you to finish. I don't interrupt you when you speak, right? Look, it's a very simple thing. They move to those countries because these countries have good economic status.
Of course they do.
Okay, so you cannot then say they have good economic status because they moved there, because that's self-refuting argument. They moved there because they have a good economic status.
They have good economic sense to the petrol.
Okay, so my point was, what is the reason? It's because they had oil, but they did not have colonization trying to take the oil through military colonization. That's why they are better than other countries which was destroyed by colonization. So you ask them to recover when still colonization happens. Does not make any rational sense. Point is, look, this is like, we went everywhere.
I'm listening. Sorry,
it's okay. We went everywhere, but let me bring you back to the important discussion, right? Do you believe in a creator? Do you believe in a God? Do you believe in some higher power? Okay. Now, what is your description of a creator? What is God to you?
It's something higher than you that makes the world as we know it.
Okay. Do you believe in prophets and messengers of God? That God chooses people to deliver the message?
I do believe in Jesus. I think it did exist.
Moses,
I don't know if
Abraham,
it did
Noah.
all the walking on water and multiplying
Okay, fish.
wine. Although I love the idea of making wine out of water. But
What about the other prophets like Moses, Abraham, and those people?
I don't know much about them because my grandma, she taught me mostly Catholicism, so I don't know about the others. I don't know about Jewish and Muslim.
Yeah. But you don't believe that Jesus was God?
No.
You believe he's a prophet?
Messenger.
Okay.
Perfect,
Okay.
yeah.
So you have the Islamic belief, because other religions, like for example, either Judaism, they completely reject Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I hate him.
Yeah. Or you've got Christianity, which say that he's literally God, right?
No, he's son of God.
No, but he's God incarnate. According to them, the Trinity,
Son
God,
of God.
the Trinity, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. So Jesus is a part of the Trinity, therefore he is God.
Yeah.
But you don't believe that. You believe he's a messenger.
But yeah, he's the son of God. It's like the name of the Holy Ghost, the Father, and the Son.
That's the
right?
Trinity.
Yeah, it's Trinity.
Yeah, but I'm asking Jesus, do you believe he's a messenger, as you said?
Yeah.
Or he is a part of the Trinity, part of God?
No, he's a messenger.
Okay, excellent. That's why I'm saying you're closer to Islam, right? So that's our position. We believe Jesus is a messenger of God. We believe Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is also a messenger of God. We believe all of them came with the same message. The message was to believe in God, worship God. That's the main focus. Not the things that we've been discussing. The main thing, the main important thing is to worship the Creator alone, submit to the Creator. Worship is not just bowing down, but implementing His guidance in your life, right? So we believe that's the important thing, following the commands of God, the guidance of God, implementing it in your life, right? Which will give you happiness after all, eternally.
I do believe that men, they need discipline and they need limits. I don't believe in total freedom. You know, say, oh, we need to be free. No. If you give total freedom to a person, they will go completely crazy.
Absolutely.
They will start doing stupid things.
So there should be limits, there should be
There
boundaries.
should be boundaries, limits, and discipline and rules.
Who sets them? Shouldn't God, the all-knowing, set the boundaries of law?
I think religion is a good one. But then of course there's the law.
Okay.
And the law is still, the law doesn't apply to morals. That's what bothers me.
No, but the law in the West is taken from
In the
biblical
West?
from the biblical tradition,
Yeah.
anyways. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal.
Yeah, it's like
It's in
the Latin.
because there is no morality without a religion.
Of course.
Yeah, so they have to rely on that.
Yeah.
So you're saying that we are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
So when someone comes and he wants to judge the Quran and say, why do you do X, Y, and Z to women? We say to them that it's your judgment as a human being.
Yeah.
We're applying the judgment of God, who knows more than you and me. Therefore, we're following that because we know that He knows more than you and me, and He knows what is beneficial for you and me.
But how are mere humans like you and I, how are we fit to interpret the word of God, which is an immaterial entity?
Excellent question. Beautiful question.
Which is like, it's bigger than everybody. And so sometimes I feel it's a bit arrogant, like, who do you think we are? Like,
Good question.
interpret and say, you shouldn't be doing this.
Good question.
You should be doing that.
The answer to that question is we don't. That's why God sends prophets and messengers. The prophet's job, Prophet Muhammad's job,
Make it more simple.
to implement it in his life and show you this is how you implement it,
Yeah.
right? So we learn from the Prophet, peace be upon him. That's why we have what we call the Sunnah or the Hadith, his life, to show us how to implement the teachings of the Quran, right? So it's no longer my understanding, oh, this verse means this according to me. Say, no, thank you. Did the Prophet do it? Did the Prophet explain it that way? Did his companions who he taught, did they practice it that way? If the answer is no, then you are misrepresenting our teachings, you're misrepresenting the Quran. That's why Islam doesn't have this problem, right? Because the Quran says go back to the Prophet, go back to his companions and implement the way he was implementing it. Okay? So I'll give you the Quran to read, you know. It was a very heated discussion, you know. I hope I didn't say anything wrong.
Thank you so much. It was very
No problem.
interesting.
No problem. Just give it a read and try to maybe.
I just feel a little bit when you say, yeah, France. I'm like, come on. It's probably...
No, I don't like France.
Honestly.
I'll tell you the truth. I don't like France.
But if you want-
a government wants to mock my prophet. How can I like this country?
I mean, it's anything but mocking the prophet.
No, it's the government. On the government buildings mocking my prophet. How can I like this?
France is in the state that it is now because it's been too tolerant. It's
been what?
Too tolerant of communitarism, you know? It's been too tolerant.
But do you agree it's wrong to mock a religious prophet on
mock-
government
no.
caricatures? I'm talking about the caricatures on government buildings.
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
So how do you expect Muslims to like the country? You know?
No. But what I mean is I think the problem started with all the anti-racist associations who are like praising dual nationalities,
Yes.
dual citizenships, and like you are not French, French betrayed you, and telling this to people who have been born in France, who have never set foot in Morocco or Algeria.
The truth is, I don't think any Moroccan or Tunisian or Algerian will ever consider himself French when the French people themselves treat him as a second-class citizen.
But I'm telling you, when they go on holiday to Morocco, Tunisia, they behave horribly to the locals.
Who does?
The French Moroccans. People born in France, they behave horribly. They treat people like the locals, like they're like beneath them.
Do you know what I say?
And when they come back, I'm telling you, they kiss the ground, they bless. Thank God I'm back.
So they're hypocrites. So they're hypocrites. So they're hypocrites.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's the word.
No problem. I don't. Okay.
They're terrible.
It's alright. Well, look. Do you know what I say? Do you know?
Ungrateful. For me, the word is ungrateful.
Okay. Do you know what I say to Moroccans, Algerians, and Tunisians who come here from France? I'll say to them, you shouldn't be living in France. I say to them,
Sorry, but
I say to them, you should be in your countries where you're able to practice your religion. You should not be in a country when you're not able to practice your religion. And I say that it's on video, right? I have
I
no.
don't hear that.
You hear it now.
Oh, France is so racist that it made stand-up comedians, footballers, singers, rappers, millionaires, multimillionaires. That's how racist France is, really.
I think you think France is perfect when France is not
No,
perfect.
I don't think. I'm not saying.
So tell me bad things about France.
Nobody's
Tell me bad things about France.
Nobody's perfect.
Why is bad about France?
How is it a racist country when so many?
I didn't say that. You said that.
So many of like French people with Arabic descent are millionaires and are in like the entertainment industry.
No, but I'm asking you a question. You said France is not perfect. So can you tell me what is the bad things about France?
The administration is not great.
That's it?
It's a fucking nightmare, to be fair.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say administration.
I think I've made my case, you know.
Yes.
I think you should be more.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's bad. It's bad.
So,
That's why, like, whether you're white or black or brown,
Yes.
it will drive you mad whenever you need to do the slightest amendment to
this is what she's talking about.
paperwork.
She's talking about paperwork.
No, but it's a problem when you need to.
So what do you mean by administration is bad?
Because here, for example, you can do everything online. You know?
Do you mean the government is bad?
No.
You see what I'm saying here?
I don't know what the government is doing.
It's okay. Anyways, I made my point, man. I know. It's okay. But look, Caroline, we care about your afterlife. I don't want to argue about France, right?
No, but I'm just annoyed because it gave so many people so many opportunities, like equal opportunities, like I said, education, opportunities to find a job, to buy a place. It's not like there is.
After taking their all of the resources from their countries, they give them opportunities after taking the resources.
Of their grandparents.
Do you know why you
That's what one thing that
Caroline?
pisses me off. If someone my age, of Algerian descent, born and raised in France, was starting to tell me, oh yeah, I would like, how dare you? You were born with literally a silver spoon in your mouth. You were born in one of the best places ever.
Okay.
You had the same opportunity I had.
Okay, I think we're going back. I've already told you. Look,
And then you dare using your great-grandparents' suffering to justify your suffering today.
okay. Do you believe?
I do not.
Do you believe?
I hate victim
Okay.
mentality.
Do you believe? Okay. Do you believe that black people can speak about racism today?
Yes, they can.
Can they speak about slavery? Can they do it or no?
No, not people my age.
No.
But people my age.
So black people cannot talk about
They have
slavery.
no right.
Black people have no right to
They
speak
have
about
no
slavery.
right. And in fact, I think it's an insult. I think it's an insult.
Okay,
To their
I think this conversation is an insult.
I'm sorry.
look,
If you're a
look,
black person
honestly,
my age, born in America,
Can I tell you the truth?
they've had everything.
Look, Caroline, the truth is
Everything
you.
handed to them.
Caroline, the truth is
No.
you are the one born with a golden spoon because you're born in France. You're born in a country after.
Just like
Can I just finish?
someone who's had.
Can I finish, please?
Okay.
And then that's why you say history doesn't matter because you have not been influenced negatively by the history. You have been influenced positively by the history by getting the goods that have been taken from these people. That's why you don't care about the history. We will care about history. History defines the future. History is a very important thing. That's why they teach it in universities, even in France, right? So I cannot say all the history does not matter. These people cannot talk about the genocides that happened to their people because they're born today.
We learn about it.
But it doesn't look like you're empathizing with it. You even say black people cannot talk about slavery.
Is that people my age who have every comfort in life, every comfort.
How do you know they have every comfort?
And they're like, yeah, but my great-great or my great-grandma. I'm like, yeah, my great-grandparents have lived through a tough dictator. They were slaves. My grandparents were slaves.
Okay. And we say you can talk about that. You can talk about. There's a problem.
And I'm not going about everything.
No, but you said they can talk about it.
Trying to people's faces
no one is doing that, Caroline.
It has handicapped me in life because it hasn't.
Okay.
Because it's not my story. It's my grandparents' story, and I am not my.
I'll tell you the truth, Caroline. I'll tell you the truth. Now I understand why a lot of people say that there are a lot of racism in France. The statements you've been making have made that image clear in my mind. Why do they say that French people can be very racist? Because to try to strip the history of someone is like stripping their identity. History is a part of your life. No, you're saying it doesn't matter.
No.
You're saying you cannot speak about it.
I'm saying you should not go about your daily life throwing it into people's face and living your everyday
Except
life
the French.
in a victim mentality.
Can I ask one question?
You should not be a victim, you should be proud.
Why the French government refused to apologize to Algeria for the war crimes that have been committed by French?
Haven't they? They have not apologized. Well, they should, yeah? You should.
Okay.
They haven't.
Okay. At least we got something.
Sorry guys, but I've been.
At least we got a commonality in this discussion.
I've been here for 14 years, so I'm not quite sure. I'm not always aware of what's going on.
Okay, look, Caroline, I can see. Look, you at least you're having a discussion. At least what we were talking about, right? Maybe try to, maybe a little bit more, right? After this discussion.
Like I say, I don't like people taking advantage. People my age who have all the comfort and all the commodities of life, taking advantage of their grandparents or great-grandparents suffering to make their life a struggle, an imaginary struggle, and pretend that they're suffering.
Well, I don't think you can know their struggle unless you live the life.
They have not struggled 1% of what their grandparents have struggled. So how dare you? I would never claim the suffering of my grandparents.
I understand what you're saying. Yes.
I would never dare. I would be ashamed of
No problem. Okay, Caroline, when it comes to Islam, not France, if you got any questions about Islam, come back.
عشيرتي جميعكم حتى ابنتي لا أغني عنكم فاعبدوا إلهكم ووحدوا.
إذا أعجبك الفيديو لا تنسى الإعجاب والتعليق، ولكي يصلك كل جديد اشترك الآن.